I've uh, read and heard that in zoos, gorillas have been observed eating their own feces, regurgitating their food, and eating their vomit, and that gorillas have been well studied in the wild, but these behaviors have not been ever observed among wild gorillas. This is very disturbing because it indicates that these behaviors are not natural, but are the result of stress. Okay, now they also say that these behaviors are more likely to occur on weekends when zoos have more visitors. What does that tell us? It tells us that gorillas are more disturbed, more anxious, more upset when there are more people there to stare at them, gawk at them. And we can understand why this is. First of all, they're in an unnatural environment. Now, zoos have gotten better in recent decades, a lot better than they used to be. They're not just in sterile cages. They try to simulate natural environment to some degree. But it's not like being out in the wild. It's not like being out in nature. Okay, the gorillas can circle around their enclosures, but they're enclosed. And in the wild, they generally go over very large amounts of territory on a routine basis. They can't do that in a zoo. This is a large animal. In addition, zoos, the people are looking directly at them. And in, that species, when you look directly at each other, that's considered a challenge to a fight. In addition, gorillas are very sensitive to noise because noise usually means there's a predator or some other sort of threat around. Okay, all these things indicate that gorillas are suffering in zoos. We can try to make things better, and we should. But there is a question there of whether this particular species belongs in a zoo at all. Do they? Because you just can't simulate the wild to any real extent in an artificial captive environment. And as somebody said, and I've mentioned before, a zoo is the only place where the prisoners are all innocent. Okay, I just wanted to put that out there. Gorillas are intelligent animals, sensitive animals, emotionally complex animals, and they're also large animals. I can't help but think that it's obvious from their stressed out and abnormal behaviors that they suffer when they are in captivity of any sort.